Welcome to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle, LaPorte County's original social media. Sound Off is a public interest forum that encourages your voice to be heard on the topics and issues impacting our local communities. We invite you to be part of the conversation by calling or texting 219-362-0522. You may also email your questions to soundoff at 967theeagle.com. This is a topic-based program, and we ask that you keep your comments brief, concise, and related to the topic being discussed. The views expressed on Sound Off are those of the hosts or callers and do not represent the opinion of 96.7 The Eagle, Spoon River Media, LLC, or the sponsors. The on-air line is now open for your calls or texts at 219-362-0522. And now, Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
And welcome to Sound Off on this Monday. Stan Maddox here. We have a guest today on the program. Our guest is LaPorte County Sheriff Ron Heeg. So give us a call or send us a text message. That number, one more time, 219-362-0522. Sheriff Heeg, welcome to Sound Off.
Well, thank you for having me here this morning, guys, or I should say this afternoon now. It's a beautiful spring day out there, and I hope you get out there and enjoy the weather. And it's supposed to get some rain tomorrow and cool off a little bit, but then it's supposed to start warming back up. So spring is here, and we're excited for it.
Yeah, everybody's excited about spring. Of course, weather's warming up. More motorcycles are hitting the roads. What would you like to tell the drivers out there? Pay closer attention, right?
Great point, Stan. You're absolutely right. The motorcyclists are coming out and about, and, we go all winter long without seeing any motorcyclists on the roadway, and we kind of forget that they're out there, and we always see it every spring. We see an increase in motorcyclist accidents where and a lot of the times they're just an innocent party in all of this, and probably 90% of the individuals who pull out in front of a motorcycle who hit a motorcyclist say, "I just didn't see him." And, we've had a couple unfortunate tragic accidents already this spring involving motorcyclists in which the driver pulled out in front of a motorcycle and it's the same thing, just didn't see him. So we got to remember that they are coming back out there. We need to I always say, just take a second look. Just be careful, take a second look, and make sure they're safe as well too. We got to share the road with not only the motorcyclist, but we're going to start seeing more bicyclists out as well too, Stan. And they're even harder to see. At least a motorcycle, you got a headlight and lights, and they're a little bit bigger. But bicyclists can be just as hard to see as anything else. So we just remember need to share the road and be safe for everybody involved.
Yeah, like you said, look twice, look three times. Better safe than sorry. Better
safe than sorry, absolutely. Just take a second look and make sure it's clear before we pull out in front of anybody.
All right. Anything new and exciting happening at the Sheriff's Office?
Well, things are going pretty good at the Sheriff's Office. Dennis and I were talking just before the show. We are fully staffed. We're excited for that. That's been some time in the making. Us and other law enforcement agencies nationwide experienced a turnover during the COVID epidemic, and we struggled for years to finally get fully staffed. We are there. Our last hiree is getting ready to graduate from the academy this Friday. So we're going to be excited to have him back, get him through the FTO process, and then get him on the road for solo patrol by mid to late summer. So we're excited. Things are really going good at the Sheriff's Office, and proud of the work that the men and women do. We've talked about it before with the yearly stats. We saw significant decreases in our crime stats coming out of last year. I think our violent crime was down 22%, and our major crime was down 27%. Those are some very significant numbers. I could not be more pleased and proud of the work that the men and women at the Sheriff's Office do on a daily basis, Stan.
So this latest hiree, how many officers is that going to give you now?
That puts us at 66 merit deputies, and that's what we're allotted by the county council, Stan.
Now, when you say a merit deputy, that's a patrol officer?
A certified police officer. A merit deputy has gone through the academy, and they're a certified police officer in the state of Indiana.
Okay, so that's everybody: detective, sheriff, patrol officer.
Absolutely, yep.
Okay, great. So 66 is about where you've been historically.
66. When I first started the department 28 years ago, we were at 55. And over the years, we have gradually increased some. Some of it was through grant funding, the COPS grant. Some of it was for some additional school resource officers, and then some of it was just additional officers that the county council has granted us over the years to increase the numbers that we see today.
Okay. Of course, the statistics also indicate more drinking and driving, it seems like. State police just announced this morning the low post had 679 OWI arrests last year.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We saw some increases in some of the drinking and driving of last year as well, too, compared. And one topic you mentioned, the alcohol-related crashes were up. And, our deputies are out there, and we have what called DUI task force patrols. We got deputies out every weekend, out specifically targeting intoxicated drivers to get them off the streets. The citizens pay to keep them safe when they're motoring, and to take these individuals off the street, and we're going to continue to do that. And we, with some of the traffic complaints and some of the accidents, we kind of formed a quasi-traffic unit at the sheriff's office, and you're going to see this year, because of some of the numbers we saw with accidents and alcohol-related crashes, you're going to see a lot of traffic enforcement come from the sheriff's office this year, because it's proven study that traffic enforcement leads to the reduction of crashes, and so you're going to see a lot more traffic enforcement by the sheriff's office this year, Stan.
Any way to explain the increase in these alcohol-related crashes?
I wish I had a magic 8-ball to help me out with that, because that was the only increase that we saw coming out of last year for 2024, and it was a significant increase. All the other crime stats and all the other stats were low, which is a good thing, except for that one, and it was significantly higher. And we ran our traffic enforcement grants last year like we've been doing in years past. Your guess is as good as mine right now, Stan. I've gone over the numbers, and I've tried to think of what would be causing this, and why would individuals be out drinking and driving, and especially with today's day and age with cell phones, where you can just text for a ride or call somebody for a ride. Everybody has a cell phone on them in today's day and age, and don't be ashamed to text or call for a ride. It's not like you got to go look for a payphone anymore.
All right, let's take a quick telephone call. You're on Sound Off with Sheriff Heeg.
Yes. I live on Highway 20 between 400 West and 300 West. And I've called before, and your answer to my question of why don't I see more patrols out here, more traffic stops. And you always say, well, we got such a big county, we can't do it. Then why do we put an officer out on a toll road? Toll road's not our jurisdiction, I don't believe. Our primary jurisdiction. Secondly, didn't you at one time have a truck enforcer on your department? In fact, bought them brand new scales, brand new pickup, and I haven't seen any of those out here. The only ones I see is the state police out here when they pull them over in front of my house because there's an extra lane in front of my house now that they widened the road. That isn't being used, and I don't know why your officers can't sit out there and pick up some of these people, because it's a straight shot. It's the only straight level shot from 94 to 39 where the speed picks up so fast, and they're running probably 80 to 90 miles an hour through here. Why can't we have more patrols out here if one of your main objectives is to try to lower the accident rate out here?
Okay.
Yeah, great question. And to answer your questions is very simple. I'll try to remember them in order. One, I myself, I live along US 20. I've grown up and raised in Springfield Township. I now live in Kankakee Township with my wife and kids. So I'm very cognizant and very aware of the traffic on US 20 and the speeds. I'm up in US 20 4 or 5 times a day, so I'm very cognizant of that. Second of all, our officers, our deputies make more traffic stops on US 20 than any other road in LaPorte County. And we've got the stats to prove that, specifically in the Springfield Township area and the Kankakee Township and that stretch there along US 20. Our officers are up there more than ever. As far as the officer on the toll road, you're correct. There is an officer that will go up onto the toll road and make traffic stops. That's because he's working overtime through grant-funded operations called domestic highway enforcement, and that's with our federal partners because we are a HIDA-designated county, a high-intensity drug trafficking area. That's what HIDA stands for. So he's working overtime to make those traffic stops on the toll road and getting illegal drugs off the street. So we support that. We're going to support getting some of these illegal drugs off of our street and everything else like that. The truck enforcement officer, yep, he's out there as well, too. We still have him, and as much as, and I say this before, as much as I would love to have him up on US 20, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or deputies up there 24 hours a day and making stops every single day, we're just not afforded that luxury. We do have a very big county because the days I start getting complaints of traffic on US 20 and the speeding that's going on there, I'm also getting calls that we're getting complaints of speeders on US 30 or State Road 8 or US 6 in the southern part of LaPorte County. And I feel for you. I would agree, too. I'd love to have full-time guys and just do nothing but completely run traffic on 20. We're just not afforded that luxury at this point in time with our current staffing and operations.
All right, we have a text message, Ron. Do pedal bikes have to stop at stop signs?
They're supposed to. They're supposed to follow all state or all mandated stops and yield signs and everybody else, just like everyone else, Dan. Yep.
That was a great question.
Yeah, that was a very good question.
I didn't know, so that's thanks for the question. Take another call. You're on Sound Off. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi. Wow, that was quick. First and foremost, I would like to say to you and your fellow officers, I would like to say thank you for your service. I do appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
And I want to ask, for instance, yesterday I was driving down by our lake here, and I noticed somebody behind me, and I could smell the marijuana, and they threw what looked like a beer bottle out of their car into the lake. Really terrible. I mean, everywhere I go, literally, I smell the marijuana, and I know they're impaired, and they don't care. And they're not just, I'm just going to smoke some weed and just relax and chill out and not do anything, but they're driving aggressive. I'm just wondering what your point of view is on the marijuana going on around this area.
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I, for one, I'm not in favor of legalizing marijuana. I know it's a hot topic. It's a hot issue within the state. And, because we have Illinois and Michigan, especially Michigan, that have legalized it. And we see what they're doing up there in New Buffalo Township and everything else. But I think you hit the number one reason why I'm not in favor of it is because of the impaired driving. Maybe that's part of the increase and why we saw so many impaired crashes last year. Maybe because some of it is because of the marijuana usage that's going on. I think they said, was it 60% of all people who visit the dispensaries up there in New Buffalo Township come from the state of Indiana? So, I mean, obviously it's an issue. It's a problem. I think Indiana will probably be one of the last states in the nation to legalize it. I mean, look how long it took Indiana to finally get Sunday sales in alcohol. So, but I personally, I'm against it. I do believe that it is a gateway drug. In my years, I never had anybody wake up and say, hey, I did heroin for the first time because it was because they were usually inebriated with alcohol or they were intoxicated under marijuana when they were offered that opportunity.
Okay. Have there, like the recent 420 Sunday, the traffic was just unbelievable around those dispensaries on I-94 and then US 12. I-94, they had vehicles backed up on the ramps, getting off the interstate and getting on the interstate. Are any issues in LaPorte County because of all that traffic, or are you grappling with some issues related to the dispensaries?
We're not seeing any of the traffic issues that our partners to the Michigan or to the north in Michigan are. Obviously, you're right. I saw videos and people sending me photos of traffic backed along the interstate and people just leaving their cars parked on the shoulder and walking across the interstate to get to the dispensary. That is a huge safety hazard and a huge concern, especially when you've got all that traffic on the interstate that's doing 70, 80 mile an hour plus. It's a safety concern, and it's a concern, but we're not seeing that type of traffic within our area. Are we seeing them come down 39 or US 12? I'm sure we are, but not to the extent that we are seeing off the interstate there in New Buffalo.
Okay. All right. Let's take another phone call. You're on Sound Off with Sheriff Heeg. Go ahead.
Hey, Stan, it's your best test, Debbie Moss. Sheriff Heeg.
Yes.
I want to tell you first off, thank you. I know you get a lot of complaints, but I am one of the people when I call, something is done about the problem. The other day, there was somebody who backed their vehicle up in my driveway and sat there for a good 25 minutes with it running. And if I had to leave, I could not have left unless I went through my yard, so I called in. They sent out an officer within 16 minutes who questioned him, and then he left. I don't know who it was, but if you're turning around, that's fine. If you're going to sit there, there's a problem. I don't do that to nobody else's property, and I expect the same here. Number two, I have cancer for the second time, and you couldn't get me to take that medical marijuana no matter how much pain I'm in. There ain't enough research on that bull, and people don't need to, quote unquote, intensify their personality when they're already an idiot before they do it. I just don't agree with it. I'm glad the state of Indiana is dragging their feet on legalizing that stuff. That's one more reason that somebody does not need to be stupid. Yeah. So I want to thank you again. I want to let you know that out on 250 South, though, coming up on 35 South, there has been twice in the last 5 days where somebody's run right through that stop sign and got on 35, and I almost got in a wreck both times because of them not stopping. I went in the grassy medium between the 2 lanes, or the 4 lanes, to avoid them. But that's what's going on out there on 250 in the afternoon time. But I love it when I'm driving out of LaPorte and there sits one of your officers in the medium. I think it's great because you should see all the brake lights come on. It looks like they're lighting up the road for Christmas. Yep. So I want to thank you guys for what you do. My dad used to say, if you can do a better job, shut up and go do it. And personally, I think everybody ought to have to be on the other side before they're on the side where they're criticizing.
Okay,
so you guys
thanks
have
a lot.
Great day. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Mr. Heeg.
Yep.
Bye.
Thank you, Debbie, and appreciate the kind words and the support for the sheriff's office, because the men and women are out there trying to do a good job. And I've said it before, we live in the county. Our kids, my kids go to school here in LaPorte County. My wife works here in LaPorte County. We live here in LaPorte County, born and raised, and been a LaPorte County all my life. So I have a vested interest in keeping LaPorte County safe, just as anybody would like to have LaPorte County safe, and any resident. I don't want to see bad things happen here in LaPorte County, because I'm a part of the community just like everyone else.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's take a quick commercial break. Stay with us here on Sound Off.
What are you waiting for? The lines are open on Sound Off. Text or dial your questions now to 362-0522. That's 362-0522. Now, back to LaPorte County's original social media. Sound Off on 96.7. The Eagle. And
welcome back. Again, our guest, LaPorte County Sheriff Ron Heeg, 362-0522. That's our number to call or text. We got a text message here, Ron. Does the county get those non-lethal stun guns? And do you have a new gun wrap to hinder offenders?
Well, we've got tasers, and we've had tasers for quite a while. But I think what this question is there's a new device out that kind of shoots a rope or a cable, and it wraps around you and kind of controls the suspect that way. We do not. We've kind of looked at them a little bit. We didn't, and it's just one of the biggest reasons is just cost. We've got a limited budget, and we try to be responsible and efficient with our budget for what our needs are. So we don't have any of those, and probably one of the biggest reasons is just that it's probably cost. Yep.
Okay. So they actually kind of lassos the offender then, huh?
Wraps him up like a lasso, Stan, absolutely.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. All right, Sheriff Ron Heeg, again, our guest, 3620522. Of course, we talked about the motorcycles being out there. It's spring planting time. I've seen the farm machinery and tractors on the highways. You want drivers to cooperate with them, right? We don't want to have any acts of road rage.
No, and especially with the farmers. You're just trying to out there to work and make a living and to provide food for us. And you're right. You're right. I've seen the farm implements out and about on our roadways already. They've been out working in the field, so just another reminder. We see them in the spring, and then we see them in the fall again for the harvest. But yeah, they're out planting. They're big. They don't move as fast as what we do. They drive slow. And they're just usually going a short few miles down the road before they enter another field. So just again, be patient with them and don't get upset with them. They don't want to block traffic more than anyone else wants to be blocked by them. So just patience. A lot of good patience. We've kind of seemed to have lost that a little bit. So,
okay, yeah, no kidding. I'm seeing. It seems like more drivers nowadays who are passing on a 2-lane road, and they're really taking chances with the oncoming vehicles, barely getting back into their lane.
Yeah,
and that happens. I see it quite often.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
All right. The caller earlier mentioned, having an officer on the toll road, and you were saying he's working, pulling people over and finding drugs, and it seems like that's happening quite often. The amount of drugs they're turning up on those toll road patrols. Most recently, they had a bunch of marijuana wax, bottles filled with marijuana wax heading from California to New York. They're coming up with meth and heroin and you name it. They're in large quantities.
Yeah, I read an article not too long ago that the state police conducted a traffic stop and pulled off enough fentanyl that it would kill the entire state. The population out of the state of Wyoming. So, just that little bit that they had on the car, it's very deadly. And somebody had asked me previously if it's becoming such a worse problem. Maybe a little bit. I don't think it's become such a worse of a problem that we're getting that many more. I just think that we're being more aggressive with it, and we're targeting these individuals that in years past we normally wouldn't do because we weren't a HIDA designated county. We've been a HIDA designated county now for probably only about the last 6 or 7 years. So it's allowing us some ample opportunity and some grant-funded operations to get out and target some of these and to get some of this stuff off of our street. So I believe the problem had always been there, but again, we're being a little more proactive with it. So that's why we're probably seeing a little bit more of it, Stan.
Okay, let's take another phone call. You're on Sound Off with Sheriff Heeg.
Well, hello, Stan. Hi, Sheriff. This is your elderly neighbor calling.
How are things in Galena Township this afternoon?
Oh, it's a beautiful day up here.
It is a very beautiful day.
Yeah. Yep. I got to tell you a story, and this is a true story. I had an occasion where I had to go to Michigan City. I think it was for an eye doctor appointment. And coming back in the county, I pulled up to a stop, 4-way stop, in a school zone, mind you, and there was a car coming toward me, and this guy slowed down but made no effort to stop at the 4-way stop in a school zone. Can you believe that?
Unfortunately, I can believe that. We see that a lot, and just some of the other calls that we received on some of the antics that go on out there, and I can honestly believe that. We talked about patience. Nobody's got patience. They're all in a big hurry. And I've said, to get in a big hurry to go to nowhere. It's like so many people are just in a hurry to go nowhere. And I think that's just a good way to describe it.
And then they hit a red light, and the car they passed is right behind them.
Right there with them.
They didn't gain much ground at all. All right, we got a text message. Keep up the good work, Sheriff. You have a great team put together, and thanks to the entire department for all you do.
Well, great, and thank you for the kind words, and you're absolutely right. We've got a great team there at the Sheriff's Office. I'm just one spoke in that cog, and it requires many more to go out and do the good job that they do. And again, I could not be more proud of the men and women of the Sheriff's Office and the work they do to keep our community safe, and it is a team effort. I'm just one spoke in that cog, Stan.
you had a leaking water line in the jail a number of weeks ago. The repairs were being made. Is that work all finished?
No, they're still working on that. That occurred back around Thanksgiving of last year. We had that leaky pipe that caused some nowhere near the damage that we saw would be almost 3 years ago now when the fire suppression line burst when it was in December on Christmas Day. But it created a little damage in our booking area. They're in there. They're finishing up that project. Hope to have that done here. Maybe in the next couple of weeks it'll be completely done. I stopped back there at the end of last week and checked on them, and they're moving quite along. So be glad to get that done and get our processing area back in full operation.
Some people out there might be curious if you had any contact with federal immigration officials since the President Trump took office. And if you get somebody you suspect who's in the country illegally, how do you respond? What do you do?
That's a good question, because that's been a topic for many since President Trump took office. And we met with them. It was actually right before the election. We met with immigration officials, and we just went over our policy and how we report with them. They provide us an email that anytime we get somebody that's in the country illegally and not supposed to be here, we email them the information, and they're quick to respond whether they want us to put a hold on that individual or if that we shall release them. But we follow all the laws and the rules on how we're supposed to do that with immigration. And with that being said, we don't get a lot of them that come into the county jail. We get a few here and there, and we do what we're required to do. So there's no concerns with immigration and us, or us with immigration.
Has immigration ever told you to put a hold on them?
Yeah. We've had immigration come in here in the last couple months and picked certain individuals up, because they do. They'll ask us to put a hold on them, and then they'll come in and get them.
So immigration holds them where? Where do they take them? Chicago? Or?
Wherever they've got holding facilities. They'll contract with different sheriffs through different states. If they've got bed space, they've asked us if we wanted to be a holding facility. I said no, because at that point in time we were a little over capacity ourselves and got no room for them. So, but they've got several throughout the what I call the Chicago region that they contract with sheriffs and jails to hold them for them. Yep.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So you're not really don't arrest a whole lot of illegals then?
No.
Okay. It's road construction season. Can we remind people to slow their roll? That's how they spelled it. Slow their roll. Slow their roll and stay off their phones.
Yeah, absolutely. Road construction season is upon us. In my travels throughout the county, there's probably not one part of the county that we're not seeing any type of road construction, and it's only going to pick up as we get into the summer season with paving and everything else. And just take a minute, slow down a little bit as you're going through the construction zones, and because again, those people are just there to work and to do their job and to make the roads better for all of us. The least we can do is to protect them and drive safely through those work zones, Stan.
Okay, let's take a quick commercial break. Stay with us on Sound Off.
Thank you for tuning in to Sound Off. You can now text or email your questions directly to the studio. Call or text 362-0522 or email your questions to soundoff@967theeagle.com. This is Sound Off.
And welcome back to Sound Off. Our guest, LaPorte County Sheriff Ron Heeg. A couple of minutes yet to take some more phone calls and text messages, 362-0522. Boy, last week, another chase. This one from east side of Michigan City over on 212, then to 12, and then eastbound into the city of New Buffalo and back. And then the guy kept going, even after his tire was flattened over by Blue Chip Casino, and he got on I-94 with just a rim now because his tire fell off. And finally, his vehicle became disabled. I mean, it seems like there's a chase almost every week, it seems like. Are you getting a lot more chases than you used to?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot more chases than what I experienced when I first started with the office many years ago. And I just think it's what society has come to. Again, we talk about the lack of patience and a lot of people with just a lot of lack of respect for themselves, let alone other people. And for an individual to be involved like that, they're putting so many other people at harm's risk. And an officer is always constantly evaluating this pursuit as whether, do we continue, do we stop, do we terminate? And I like to think our guys do a good job. I'm listening to the radio sometimes when this is going on, and they're constantly evaluating. And I've heard them they've terminated the pursuits because it starts to become unsafe. And you live to fight another day, so to speak. And we'll get this individual down the road at a later time.
Yeah, and if they terminate the chase, a lot of times they're notifying police agencies up ahead, right?
Yeah,
in other counties, and then they get the guy.
And then they can get them, so that helps. But at the moment, if it's becomes dangerous or something, we'll terminate it and try to keep everybody safe as best as possible.
Yeah, you wonder what's going through the mind of a driver fleeing from the police. Does he actually think that he's going to not be caught?
Yeah, that's a good question. Only they know what's going through their mind at that time.
It seems like you guys got 100% batting average,
You're right, yeah.
All right, let's take another phone call. You're on Sound Off. Go right ahead.
Just want to say, Ron, that you and your department are doing an excellent job. Keep up the good work.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. I do appreciate the kind words, and you're right. It's the department. Again, I'm only one spoke in that cog or in that wheel, and it's truly a team effort. And again, I'm pleased and proud of the men and women of the sheriff's office and the job that they do, because again, we do care. I know they care immensely about their county and their community and keeping everybody safe as well too. So thank you for that phone call.
Okay, thanks a lot. Boy, have your detectives figured out what happened in that case where they found the guy head first in a well in Springfield Township? I know they were going to do an autopsy. Have you figured out how he wound up in that?
Stan, I don't. I haven't followed up with anybody, and nobody has come to me and said this is what we believe happened or anything. It could have been a medical episode, or it could have just been a tragic accident that he fell down in that well and come to his demise. Pray for the family and feel for the family who found their loved one down in that well. It's just a sad situation and something that we don't want to see.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, we're close to the end of the show. Anything that you want to let the listeners know about?
Yeah, absolutely. We're almost getting to the end of the school season. I know New Prairie gets out here. I think it's May 23rd. My girls are done, and I know some of the other school corporations are right behind. So that means the kids are going to be out and about and enjoying summertime activities and everything else. So again, just back to our theme from the very beginning of the show, just slow down, take an extra look, and keep an eye out for the kids. We don't want to see any tragic accidents happen, and we don't want anybody to have to live with themselves if something were to happen to any of the kids. And there's going to be a lot of activities coming up. We're already planning for the fair. We meet with the fair board later this week, starting to plan and prepare for the fair. Tomorrow we have a meeting for the boat races in Michigan City. That's a year-long planning session. So a lot going on and a lot coming up that we're looking forward, and we're excited into the busy summer season that we're going to see.
Yeah, and of course, boating season. You guys are involved with that too, right?
Absolutely. We have a Marine Patrol unit that's also grant funded by the Department of Natural Resources. So yeah, we're going to be out and about. Like I said, you're going to see a lot more activity from us this year. And we want everybody to have fun, but we want everybody to be safe and responsible as well too, Stan.
Yeah. If you get some, high school kids are enjoying prom, and all of a sudden somebody does something stupid. Yep. Can't think of a worse situation. Have fun, but be safe and be responsible. Any updates on the possible purchase of electric vehicles?
No, you're not. We're not going to get electric vehicles at the sheriff's office. I just don't think that they're conducive for, one, police work, but two, especially for the sheriff's office, because we're in a much greater area, in an area that just would not be conducive for us to have electric vehicles. Maybe in a city or municipality, they may work, but I just don't think they're suited for law enforcement operations.
Yeah. You don't want the battery going dead during a high-speed chase, right?
You can't have the battery going dead in a high-speed pursuit, or if you get stuck on an accident scene for a lengthy amount of time and you got to have the lights on and everything else, that would really drain the power and the battery down so much faster, and just I'm not in favor of electric vehicles for law enforcement purposes.
All right. Well, we're out of time. That'll do it.
Wow, time flies when we're having fun.
Right.
Yep.
Let's go another 30 minutes. Dennis is like, nope, he's not going to let me do
Dennis
it.
is cutting us off.
Okay. Well, Ron, thanks a lot for coming on Sound Off. Look forward to your next visit.
Thank you. Same here.
All right. That'll do it. Have a great day. We'll see you again on Friday. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us and voicing your opinion on this edition of Sound Off.
Oh, hey!
The views expressed on Sound Off are those of the host or callers and do not represent the opinion of 96.7 The Eagle, Spoon River Media, LLC, or the sponsors. Sound Off airs live every Monday and Friday, immediately following Update 12 News, and is available online after the show is over under the podcast menu at hometownnewsnow.com. Mark your calendar and join us again for the next edition of Sound Off, right here on 96.7 The Eagle.
Hi, this is Chris Stapleton.
Hi, this is Kane Brown.
Hey, this is Luke Combs.
This is...
Your home for country music variety is 90.